What's going on, men of God? Hey, I'm so glad you jumped on this video. Today, I want to share with you guys a really powerful leadership tool that it's not only going to help you in the world of business, whether you lead teams, you're part of a team, maybe you're an entrepreneur, you have employees underneath you. This is going to be so applicable to that, but this is more than just that. This is one of those tools that is going to relate to you as a spiritual leader at home as well. And I like to say that if you are a man and you have air in your lungs and you're a believer, you are a leader. And if you don't think you're a leader, that's a lie from the enemy. You are a leader. God's called you to better things, bigger things, and you are a leader. And so this tool is going to help you, like I said, not only in the world of business, but it's going to help you as a spiritual leader as well. And it's called the 100X indicator. And I'm going to share my screen real quick so you guys can see this. And then we'll walk through this tool really quick. There we go. Awesome. Okay, so this is the 100X indicator. And what this does is this is going to teach you what kind of leader are you? Are you a healthy leader? Are you an unhealthy leader? And what are you multiplying? And we say, okay, so you're either going to multiply positivity or you're going to multiply negativity. It just depends on where you're at as a leader, right? There's no in between. So this is called the 100X indicator. And so how the tool works is this, right? So we have this scale from 0 to 100, right? And so we like to divide these up into 4 different areas of leadership. So if you are anywhere from 0 to like that 40, this is the type of leader that we call a divisive leader. So we say divide, right? This is one of those leaders that, and if you lead teams, you may have had someone like this on your team. This is that leader that's divisive. They're not healthy. They are not good for your team. They are literally, and they can get healthy, but like they are not interested in it right now. And all they do is breed negativity. So they are actually multiplying division, if that makes sense. They're multiplying negativity because they're so divided. And these are the people that really, really need help as leaders, right? And so those are we call those the dividing leaders. Anyone from that 60 to, anything for like that, sorry, 40 to 60 area, we call those the minus leaders, the 60 minus leaders, and those are the negative leaders, rather. Those are leaders that are just generally negative. They're not necessarily dividing organizations. They're not necessarily dividing teams, but they're not necessarily positive leaders. They're kind of negative around the office, around the team. They don't have a whole lot of positive things to say. Can kind of bring the situations down, but they're not beyond saving. Like they can definitely be worked with. Good leaders know how to take these negative leaders and bring them up into positive leaders. But that's kind of that, 60 minus zone right in there. It's not quite divisive, but it's not exactly positive. And then we have like what we call the plus leaders, the positive leaders. And this is that 60 to 80 range that we say most leaders are generally in. And what's cool about this one is that you're a good leader, you're a positive leader. What we like to say is that the attitude that the positive leader has is, hey, I want to help you. The door's always open. Come to me when you need help. That's awesome, and that people feel like they can go to their leader when they need things. They're not afraid of them. They're generally positive. But the only downside to the positive leader, which we want to get from positive to multiplication, right? The plus to multiplication, is that leader, it requires the people underneath them to go to that leader, not the other way around. So that leader, he's a good leader, but he or she's not going out to the people beneath them. It requires the people beneath them to go to them, right? So again, good leader, but the door's always open. You need to come to me. Where we want to strive for, we want to see with when I coach my guys, and we want to get them, we call them 100X leaders, where they're 100% healthy and they're also multiplying that positivity, that production, that value. And that's why we say you're multiplying something. Is it good or is it bad? And so that 100X leader, that's the one that is intentionally leading. They're liberating leaders. They're going to their people. I just had a coaching session with a guy that I coach right now, and we were talking about that very thing. He was like, "Man, I got these guys that, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, but like, I'm missing a piece. Like I'm missing that connectivity with them." And I challenged him to be like, "Man, are you meeting with that person regularly? Like they're stepping to the table, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, but how much more could you be empowering that individual if you were just spending time with him on somewhat of a regular basis, once a week, once a month, whatever it is. But you would be going to him to be like, how can I help you? How can I empower you? How can I give you more tools to do your job better? That is a 100x leader. It's those leaders that are intentionally going from it's not just, hey, come to me when you need help, the door is always open. It's, I'm going to set aside, I'm not, no one has time. We have to make time, right? And no one has time to do this. We have to make time in our schedule to go meet with the people on our teams on a regular basis, to liberate them, to provide them with the things they need to become the best versions of themselves that they can be in that workspace and beyond, right? Because that 100x leader is also going to be challenging them even on a personal level, making sure they're healthy as a person, right? And knowing their life and knowing who they are. I mean, if you are a leader of a larger organization, I mean, how well do you know your people? Right? I mean, I get it. If you have thousands of people in an organization, it's impossible to know. But man, even the ones that are closest to you, like, do you know their families? Do you know their struggles? Do you know their lives at all? Or is it just work? That 100x leader is in that life. It's doing life with those people. And those people will always respect you more. Your influence is going to go up drastically when you're just being available for them and going to them and being there for them. And so that's what we call that 100x leader. So this is my challenge to you as men of God. Like I said, this is not just a work tool. This is one of those tools that this goes beyond the workplace and goes into the family. Let me give you an example. My son is getting into the teenage years. He's 13 and he's my oldest. And so with those that have teenagers and above and beyond, y'all know this, but it's getting into this weird world of like questions and girls and all this stuff, you know what I mean? And so I've been praying about like, man, God, how can I really be more intentional with my son now that he's kind of getting into this teenage years? How can I really, these are these formative years, how can I, as his father, be a more intentional leader and a more intentional dad? And God put on my heart, you just need to get in the Bible with him. I know that sounds weird, right? Like, I've been in ministry for decades and it's like, hey, there's a concept, get in the Bible with your son. And so God said, I want you to go through Romans with your son. So this morning I told him last night, like this morning, I want you to read Romans chapter 1. So we're getting into a can of worms if you know the book of Romans, but such an amazing, powerful book in the Bible. But I want to take my son through this and I want him to understand grace and I want him to understand that he's justified and that he's righteous in the Lord's sight. And so anyway, that's a Bible study. But the whole idea is that like God was challenging me to be more intentional, right? So this is going from a positive leader, a plus leader, like, hey, I'm your dad. You can always come to me to, you know what? I'm going to go to my son. I'm going to make an intentional effort to go to him and go, you know what, man, here, get your Bible out. We're going through Romans chapter 1 today, right? Like that's being an intentional father. That's being an intentional leader. And so that's why I say this 100x indicator is such a great leadership tool because it goes beyond the workspace and it goes into the family life and fathering and being a husband and being, I mean, how can you be more of a 100x leader to your wife? Are you intentionally spending time in prayer together? Are you intentionally encouraging her in the word? Like this is being a 100x leader at home. And so I want to challenge you guys that are watching this video, become 100x leaders. It's not going to happen overnight. I take my guys through some real intentional in-depth training to get them from being either negative or positive to being that 100x leader. And so if you find yourself on this scale at work as a leader, are you in that negative range, in that positive range, or are you really in that multiplication range? And then what are you doing at home? What kind of leadership are you living at home? What kind of are you multiplying positive, godly behavior and insights to your family, or are you negative or even worse, are you dividing that? Like that's a challenge to us as men, as leaders, because you're a leader, to live that out and to be that leader that your family's counting on, that God's calling you to be. And so anyway, hopefully this tool helps for you guys. If you guys have questions about how do I become a 100x leader? How do I go from being negative or even positive to being that next level leader? Reach out to me. I want to help you guys. I want to share more about this because, man, men need other men to reach into life and do life together and be with one another. And hopefully I can give you guys some encouragement that way. So, all right, guys. Well, that is the 100x indicator tool. I hope that was helpful. And hey, have a great week and we'll talk to you soon.